What's going on, everybody? It's your boy KRYPTONIAN saying here, bringing you guys another review for Black Clover Chapter 353. And dude, this chapter, while it does slow things down quite a bit, we do have some interesting things to discuss, including Asta continuing to pick up women for his harem faster than a Pokemon collector snatches up Pokemon. We have what could be considered to be a strong hint that there's a chance the Ryus and 7, or at least some of the members, are going to accompany Asta back for his final battle against Lucius. And we have another potential zinger in the mystery of the Yami clan massacre. With my initial thoughts out of the way, let's back things up a bit and let's dive into the review itself. So the chapter opens up where the last one left off. The five-headed dragon of the underworld is now confirmed to be defeated at last. Asta's anti-magic slash was so strong that it cut away the magic clouds that covered the island directly because of the magic of the five-headed dragon that was asleep until then. After Asta is thanked for defeating the dragon, Asta recalls the fact that he should be dead, and Ryuya takes the time to remind Asta that Sister Lily already told him about Lucius' growing magic power, and the fact that Lucius could revive the dead was a very troubling sign for how strong he's become, especially being able to revive such a strong foe like Heath. When Asta asks if there was any way for him to go to the Clover Kingdom, Ryuya continues to give Asta the words of wisdom that he's going to need to soak in as he continues walking down that path to become the next Wizard King, which is that Asta must be patient. Any good leader knows that there are times where the only option available to you is to wait, and that rushing to act isn't necessarily the best play that one could make. Even though every instinct is screaming at you to act, sometimes you have to stay still. Essentially, Asta's learning what it means to embody the phrase, stillness speaks. Ryuya tells him that the Black Bulls are working for a way to bring Asta back home, which at the very least reassures us as readers that despite Yami and Yuno saying that they wanted to smoke at Lucius at the very least hasn't started killing off members of the Black Bulls yet. But then again, they're so far down the list of items that Lucius probably isn't worried about him right now. You know, because that whole taking over the world thing's a pretty big job, and especially when you start factoring in the Judgment Day factor looming in and what that big spectacle is going to be. Upon learning that the Black Bulls are coming for him, Asta says that he'll trust in them, and we see the various reactions to the five-headed dragon being destroyed, including Himito, who makes it known that the five-headed dragon's about to be cooked. We then shift over to everyone celebrating Asta as the hero who defeated the five-headed dragon, with Ryuya saying that the tale of Asta is going to be the next tale of the Land of Sun. However, after this takes place, Ryuya dodges the questions by Ichika, who is asking if it was really her who wiped out the Yami clan and not her brother Tsukihiro Yami. But Ryuya basically becomes that meme from many years ago where the guy eats the Snickers bar to avoid answering any difficult questions. However, it's worth noting that she's now referring to Yami both by his given name as well as calling him her brother, which is a sign of the healing taking place inside of Ichika's character, which I think we all can agree this girl has some serious emotional damage that she was dealing with throughout the years, including her yelling at and abusing our favorite vertically challenged anti-magic muscle-bound hero. We also see Asta drinking sake and getting absolutely plastered in the process, but Asta is greeted by Ichika, who apologizes to him for the way that she spoke about Yami and dragging Yami, someone who Asta clearly admires, all the way through the mud. But Asta is relieved to hear that she's changed her opinion on her brother. This is clearly Tabata setting the stage for a sibling reunion with Yami and Ichika, with her likely getting the closure that she needs surrounding the events of the Yami clan massacre. Asta is then brought up to speed on the culture in the Land of Sun, including the Ochami doll that's being introduced, which is the doll for the god of food for the people in the Land of Sun who saved people from a monster drought many years ago, which is why they give thanks when they start eating their meals. We further see a sign that the Ryus and 7 are going to be ending up in the Clover Kingdom at some point in the story, because Yasuga tells Asta that he wants Asta to introduce him to a strong woman in his country, and he wants to meet someone who uses fire magic, which immediately makes Asta think of Marileona, which makes you wonder briefly if this isn't going to wind up being some type of a ship by the end of the series. We've seen ships in other shonens be put together off of less. This screams of it right here. Now, Asta finally ends up hitting his drinking limits with sake, and somewhere Yami's disappointed that Asta didn't push through his limits and keep drinking, and Vanessa's probably writing down tips on how to consume more adult beverages for Asta, because those two definitely know how to drink. But jokes aside, side though, Daizemon picks up Asta and he takes him to the hot spring, but when Asta enters the hot spring, he realizes he's in the female hot spring and he sees Ichika soaking in the hot spring. Upon seeing her body, Asta is immediately sobered up, but not for the perverted reasons that some of you sussy bakas might be thinking. Asta's been around enough baddies like Vanessa and Noelle. You really think he's going to turn super simp god over the sight of Ichika? No. The reason he sobers up is the PTSD that comes from all those beatings at the hands of Ichika. They start washing over him and he thinks that she's going to kill him for what he just pulled by being there and seeing her in the nude. However, Ichika blushes and covers up her chest, which also leads to Asta running away. The next morning, Ichika greets Asta, and when he apologizes for the other night, she tells him to take responsibility, which is an avid reader of Dragon Ball. This scene low-key reminds me of Chi-Chi telling Goku to take responsibility for when they fought in the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, where she was talking about marriage and there was a huge misunderstanding. And that is one gag that you do see in a lot of Japanese manga and anime, where one character is talking about one thing and the other character is absolutely clueless. This reeks of that right there. I'm not going to be shocked if we learn that this is what Ichika was referring to, which means that Asta has officially added one more to his growing harem of women. It's then that the Ryuzen 7 and Asta make it clear that they're going to continue training for the remaining 3 days until the Judgment Day comes, which is exactly where the chapter ends off. Now, this is absolutely interesting because this is basically telling us that Asta is likely pulling up with the Ryuzen 7 in tow because the Land of Sun is going to be in the crosshairs of Lucius as well, which makes me wonder just how many paladins is Lucius going to have, or is there the potential of more devils that we don't know about begin to start popping up, because we know he can resurrect the dead. And we also have to look at the fact that the Ryuzen, they're not weak, and Zetten is low-key busted when you start looking at the ways that can be applied, and it's something that could give an edge in battle to the Ryuzen and Asta. However, we also have the fact that Asta is continuing to go on with this training even after mastering using Zetten, because he's now leaving no stone left unturned in battle against Lucius and wants to ensure that the next time he enters into a battle with him, he's doing so with his best option to carve out victory, which makes a lot of sense when we think about it. Asta's only going to get one more chance at Lucius, and when he shoots that shot, there won't be any more do-overs. So when he takes this next shot, it absolutely has to count. As much as it saddens me to say this, I do think we are getting closer to the final stage of Black Clover right now. Unless we shift to the Clover Kingdom to see what might be going on with Yami or Yuno, we're basically wrapping up the plot threads with Asta's training, but we still have the open storyline of Yami and Yuno wanting to confront Lucius and seeming as if they're about to do so right away. I'll be a little disappointed if that's never picked up on until the final battle, but that's just me. My question to you guys is, how do you guys feel about Asta's time here in the Land of Sun? Has this sub-arc been worth it, and what was the best moment? While you think that over, click here to watch this Black Clover video you see on the screen right now.